Definition and function of language. Transactional and interactional function. Definition of language. Pei and Gaynor in Badulu 2009 state that language is a system of communication by sound, i.e., through the organs of speech and hearing, among human beings of a certain group or community, using vocal symbols possessing arbitrary conventional meaning. Human beings use their organs of speech such as mouth, tenu, lungs, etc. to produce sounds. Wardhaw 1972, 3 defines language as a system of vocal symbols used for humans common. Language also used by humans as a tools to communicate each other. According to Green 1972, 25 language is the set of all possible sentences, and the grammar of a language is the rules which distinguish between sentences and non-sentences. It means that language has a specific rules. Five functions of language. Jeffrey Leach 1974. Mentioned that language has 5 functions. They are, informational, expressive, directive, aesthetic and phatic. Now I am going to discuss every function. Informational function, which everyone tends to assume is most important. Jeffrey Leach 1974. In fact, this function concentrates on the message. It is used to give new information. It depends on truth and value. Let us look at this example. The car is big, the bus is crowded. Language can have an expressive function. That is, it can be used to express its originator's feelings and attitudes. Swear words and exclamations are the most obvious instance of this. Jeffrey Leach 1974. The third function of language is the directive function, whereby we aim to influence the behavior or attitudes of others. The most straightforward instances of the directive function are commands and requests. This function of social control places emphasis on the receiver's end, rather than the originator's end of the message, but it resembles the expressive function in giving less importance, on the whole, to conceptual meaning than to other types of meaning, particularly affective and connotative meaning. Jeffrey Leach 1974. The fourth function is the aesthetic function, which is the use of language for the sake of the linguistic artifact itself, and for no purpose. This aesthetic function can have at least as much to do with conceptual as with effective meaning. Jeffrey Leach 1974. Quote, according to Leach, the fifth function is the phatic function. The function of keeping communication lines open, and keeping social relationships in good repair. In Britain culture, talking about the weather is a well-known example of this. Geoffrey Leach, 1974. Actually has another classification from what we have discussed. H. Douglas Brown has classified function of language into 7 types. This classification is not much different from that of Leach. The functional approach to describing language is one that has its roots in the traditions of British linguists J.R. Firth, who reviewed language as interactive and interpersonal, a way of behaving and making others behave. Burns, 1984. Definition of transactional and interactional language with example. Interactional language. According to Brown and Ewell, 1983, 1. State that the interactional involved in expressing social relation and personal attitudes. In daily life, people tend to use the interactional to make their relationship more friendly. Features of interactions. Create social interaction. Focus on participants and their social needs. Interactive, requiring two-way participation. May be casual or formal. Reflects speaker's identity. Examples. Greetings, small talk and chit-chat. Recounting recent experiences. Compliments. Transactional language. According to Brown and Ewell, 1983, 1. State that transactional is language that is used serve in the expression of content. The people common rarely use the transactional view because the relationship is more important rather and the message itself. Transactional uses of language are those in which language is being used primarily for communicating information. Richards, 1990, 54. Accurate and coherent communication of the message, confirmation that it has been understood, explicitness and directness of meaning are essential. Transactional exchanges are interactions which have an outcome, for example, buying something in a shop, enrolling in a show. In such contexts the range of language used is relatively limited and therefore reasonably predictable. Features of transactional. Giving or obtaining information, or getting goods and services. Focus on message. Making oneself understood completely. Grammatical accuracy may not be a priority. Communication strategies. Information-oriented. Asking for directions, describing how to use something, sharing opinions and ideas, discussing plans. Goods and services oriented, focus on achieving a goal or service, checking into a hotel, shopping, ordering a meal. Examples: classroom group discussion and problem-solving activities. Discussing needed repairs to a computer with a technician. Making a telephone call to obtain flight information. Asking someone for directions on the street. Ordering food from a menu in a restaurant. From the definition above, the writer concludes that in daily life, humans commons tend to use interactional to maintain social relation and also to make their relation more friendly. Whereas transactional rarely is used in daily life, people use transactional to serve in expression of content. It can be said that human relationship more important rather than message itself.